Episode 4, The Gravity Drop. March 15, 2026. Sao Paulo, Brazil. Rafael woke to the sound of a motorcycle revving too loudly 3 floors down and the slow realization that he'd fallen asleep again in his chair. His spine complained first, then his shoulders, then his right wrist, which had been resting for hours on the edge of his tablet. The second monitor across from him still glowed with a paused timeline from an animation project he'd been trying to fix before exhaustion won. He rolled his neck, wincing at the crackle of stiff muscles, and blinked at the corner of the screen, 4:52 a.m. Outside, Sao Paulo was in that brief in-between state where the night people hadn't quite gone home and the morning people hadn't quite woken up yet. The city didn't sleep, it only changed its kind of noise. For now, the sounds were subdued. Distant traffic, a dog barking twice and then giving up, a bus wheezing somewhere down the hill. Rafael rubbed his face with both hands and stared at the half-finished animation on his screen. A character's jacket was clipping through their arm on the last 2 keyframes, and the cloth simulation refused to behave. He'd told himself he would fix it before bed. Instead, he blacked out at his desk sometime after midnight, stylus still in hand. He pushed the chair back, stood, and made his way to the small kitchenette that pretended to be separate from the rest of his studio apartment. The tiles were cool under his bare feet, the air thick with residual warmth of yesterday. Even at dawn, the humidity clung. He filled the kettle, flicked it on, and checked his phone while it grumbled itself toward boiling. 3 notifications from a group chat he mostly muted. Anyone else see Echo's final stream? Dude, her channel's gone, like wiped. He frowned, thumb hovering above the screen. Echo Nocturne. He knew the name. Everyone in his circles did. Half the animation students in his cohort had treated her model rig as a benchmark for this is what you aspire to if you ever touch VTuber work. He'd watched her on and off over the past year, mostly when someone sent him links with timestamps saying, look at the hair physics here or check this eye tracking. But he hadn't heard anything about a final stream. He scrolled upward. Someone had dropped a short clip, vertical, shaky, someone recording their monitor with a phone. Last 30 seconds before everything died. The kettle clicked off, but he didn't move. He tapped the clip. The quality was bad enough to make his animator soul flinch, but he could see the important parts. Echo's avatar, the lantern glow, the way the hair drifted in a soft, almost underwater motion. And then, the bow. Rafael's brows knit. The bow didn't line up quite right. It fired early, slightly out of sync with the cadence of her voice. He couldn't hear the audio well over the message chat overlay, but the timing felt wrong. The clip ended abruptly in black. His thumb rested on the progress bar, ready to scrub back. The kettle whistled softly, demanding attention. Rafael poured water over instant coffee, set the mug aside, and opened the browser on his computer. The monitors were still lit from his overnight work. He split the main screen and pulled up a fresh tab. Echo Nocturne channel. Nothing. He tried variations, links he remembered using in the past, an old bookmark buried in his browser bar. Unavailable. Page not found. He took a sip of coffee that was already too hot and too bitter, set it down, and leaned closer to the monitor. He'd seen creators vanish before. Sometimes they left quietly. Sometimes they announced dramatic exits. Sometimes platforms took them down for policy violations. But in those cases, you always found traces, mirrors, fan clips, cached thumbnails, comment threads that outlived the content. Here, there was almost nothing. He opened a search tab and typed simply, Echo Nocturne final stream. The results were a mess. Panic threads, joke accounts, people yelling in all caps that she's part of an RG now or this was all marketing. He filtered the noise. He downloaded a cleaner version of the final 30 seconds from someone who'd done a quick screen capture with minimal compression. It took a moment to buffer, the file wasn't large, but his Wi-Fi liked to remind him it was shared with half the building. Once it loaded, he dragged it into his editing software. The waveform appeared across the bottom, jagged and uneven. Above it, the video timeline waited. He hit play and watched. Echo's avatar dipped into a bow near the end. Her hair followed with its usual careful drift. Someone had tuned that system well, tracking acceleration and drag convincingly. He muted the audio and watched only the motion. The bow triggered a fraction too early. He scrubbed back, frame by frame. On frame 1 of the sequence, her head dipped. On frame 2, the hair followed. On frame 3, the lantern behind her flickered brighter than usual. Odd. Light source flicker shouldn't have been tied so tightly to head movement. That meant the model was reacting to something else. His fingers hovered over the shortcut keys. He unmuted the audio. The waveform spike leapt out at him, sharp, narrow, clean. He looped the half-second around it. Low volume sounded like static. He raised the gain, a breath, close to the mic, too close. Under it, the scrape of something shifting on a solid surface. He sat back, a cold sensation pooled under his ribs. He'd heard thousands of mic noises, dragged chairs, bumped desks, the soft click of someone adjusting a boom arm. And this didn't sound like an accidental touch. It sounded like proximity. He played it again. Breath, scrape, bow, hair dip, blackout. He opened the channel link again on his monitor. Again, the same error page. He hit refresh. This time, for one flickering heartbeat, the screen went white. A jagged line of text appeared near the top in default system font, "Where did," then vanished. His pulse jumped. No, this isn't normal. He refreshed again. No flicker, no text, just the standard error. His phone buzzed. Some nerd already made a forum for this. LOL, look at this. A link followed. He tapped it. The page that loaded was bare bones, no branding, no ads, just stark white with a single thread at the top. Thread 1, strange glitch during channel removal, posted by Northbridge in Prague. He started reading. Did anyone else see a white page flicker when Echo's channel went down? Mine flashed a partial phrase before the error loaded. Not sure it was caching or something else, curious if anyone saw it. 8:36, London fog. I saw the same thing. Raphael stared at the words. He wasn't the only one. His mind buzzed. He returned to his desktop, opened the thread in a new tab, and hovered over the reply field, then started typing. White flicker here too. Could be server load, but it looked odd. I grabbed the last 30 seconds of the stream. Animation stutters, something's off. He hit post. His heart thudded once, strangely loud. He returned to his project. The clip waited, frozen on the frame, right before the blackout. He had planned to compare older clips for reference, but the thought of someone else posting new findings tugged at him. He switched back to the thread. Minutes passed. Then, Meridian line. Cross-referencing with my local copy, same anomaly around 01-2319 stream time. Doesn't look like a simple frame glitch. 01-2319. He checked his own timeline. There it was, same second, same moment. A rhythmic pressure settled behind his ribs. Another notification blinked. Sundown Tokyo, not device interference, running a spectrogram now. I'll post anything unusual I find. Sundown was analyzing audio. Good, he wasn't alone in hearing the breath. He returned to his animation window and created a new test layer. A drift simulation using Echo's baseline physics settings, which he had saved months ago out of curiosity. He reran the simulation beside the anomaly. Baseline, smooth, slow, predictable. New clip. Sharp, downward, compressed. He marked it, graphed it, tried an alternate model weight, tried reduced air simulation. Nothing recreated the drop. He swallowed. His throat felt dry. He turned back to the forum. Northbridge. Is anyone getting audio anomalies at the very end? My recording has a weird breath right before the blackout. Raphael froze. So someone else heard it. Not static, not compression, a breath. He clicked reply without hesitation this time. It's not static, it's human. Hair physics drop weird too. Feels like a gravity spike. He hit post. The room felt suddenly very still. His shoulders sagged, his eyelids felt heavy. The adrenaline that had carried him from groggy confusion into frantic analysis drained out all at once, leaving an exhaustion that settled deep into his bones. He leaned back in his chair. The cushion dipped sharply under him. His body protested, but he didn't have the energy to move. He watched the thread for one more minute, refreshing once, twice, no new posts yet. The world was moving around him. Something in Echo's room had moved too. Something had gotten close enough to the mic for its breath to be captured. Something had caused the downward dip. Something had made the lantern flicker. He meant to stand, meant to finish the comparison, meant to go get water. Instead, his head tilted back, the ceiling blurred, his eyelids fell shut. His last coherent thought, hair doesn't fall like that unless something touches it. And then he slipped under into a shallow, uncomfortable sleep curled in the chair he never meant to stay in. Outside Sao Paulo began its shift into morning. Buses groaned to life, vendors unlocked metal shutters, a child cried on a distant balcony. Inside the apartment, the monitors glowed pale against the dim. The thread continued without him. End of episode 4.